once you've decided how to plan or how you're going to capture your video, the first part of the exercise is to write the storyboard and script. Remember, try to keep it short and memorable. Try to keep it interesting. Otherwise, you might find difficulties remembering the script, and this is assuming that you don't have the budget for an expensive teleprompter. Once a script is written, the next part is choosing the film location. Typically look for well-lit and quiet areas with no bright lights behind the subject. I'd love to go into more mechanics of achieving the different shots and working on developing that ideal image. However, time restrictions does mean that we need to move on. But if you have any questions so far, feel free to jot them down or bring them up during the Q&A. We'd love to sort of have a bit of a discussion into this sort of more generating side of the topic. So after the video is recorded, whether you're doing it on a smartphone or on your SLR or on a handycam that you might have kicking around, assuming that you're going to be editing them on your laptop or desktop computer, you'll need video editing software. Now, the exciting thing is that there's a whole range of free video editing software now available for people at very, very different skill sets. If you're using a Macintosh computer, I'd highly recommend getting started in iMovie. And for PCs, Movie Maker. Both of these are free and relatively easy programs to get your head around. However, there are many more and many alternatives, and one worthwhile noting is Lightworks. Ultimately though, the Rolls-Royce is Adobe Premiere. This is the one that I personally use and recommend, and it starts about $20 per month on a subscription fee. Now, if you're thinking at this point you would never stand in front of a camera yourself or be able to make your staff do the same, don't panic. There are many ways to capture video, and an interview style is simply just one of them. Another way to tell your story may be by simply using a collection of stock clips. That is stock clips with a voiceover in the background. Here you'll be able to, I've got a site up here called videoblocks.com. This is a great affordable stock video site. Done well, this can be reasonably effective. However, it's not always easy to do a good job. Also, it's worthwhile noting that audioblocks.com is necessary for, can be an excellent site or excellent resource for all of your audio needs, whether or not you're going to be using stock video or producing your own. Here you'd be able to get anything from sound effects to music background, and a very, very affordable price. Another great resource for creating voiceover videos is goanimate.com. I'd highly recommend everyone here having a look at goanimate.com in depth, as this site enables businesses to easily make professional looking animated videos that is for extremely affordable prices. Also, with our voiceover method, it's still critically important to maintain audio quality. Investing in a decent set of headphones is generally a better way to go than using built-in microphones in your laptop. However, I'd also recommend looking at getting a dedicated USB microphone. These usually cost around $80 to $150, but remember, headphones are going to be the best bet if you're on a budget. The last thing to note, once you've made your video, you then need to think about delivery. Here I'd recommend embedding your video on your website. This is with the idea of improving your site's overall SEO score. Also, having your video on YouTube is critical these days. For the long term, maximizing the most amount of traffic that can be achieved through your video, YouTube is absolutely important. However, for immediate response for your initial release, Facebook is the way to go for video. Uploading and embedding your video directly to Facebook drastically outperforms usually putting them on YouTube these days. So this was a bit of a quick overview today. I hope it sort of generated enough questions so that we can have a really good Q&A time. very soon. The main thing to remember is when it comes to telling and communicating your value proposition to your customers online, content is king, and not all content is equal. Video is the content king. I'm going to hand it back over to Ingrid now, and she's just going to go for a few more slides, and then we're going to be going through the Q&A time. So thank you. Hold on.
Thank you, David. I'm just going to steal his headset and steal his seat and adjust the headset because his head apparently is a little larger than mine. Okay. So to end off, make sure we don't forget your brand when you're preparing your video script and editing your video, and don't get excited and putting together pretty pictures. So when you're writing your script, think about who you are talking to, what problem you're solving or need you're fulfilling for your audience, and what image of your business or brand will you be giving and you wish to give. Before I talk to this particular slide, I'd also like to say that I think there's some useful content in there that it might be useful to put into a little quick cheat sheet for you where we'll list the free tools, so that, and I'll post it on Facebook no later than tomorrow for you, so that I can list the particular programs and means of distribution, etc. So you'll have a quick reference sheet to look at. Before we move on to Q&A, I just want to flag some upcoming webinars we have in the digital space, which will be on Hootsuite and other social media and scheduling and distribution tools, free ones. How to use hashtags, I mean, that's something I've avoided doing. So why you want to use them and how you use them is something I'm keen to work out. And search engine marketing, where David is king there. And in October, we'll also be introducing our Human Resources series to address the needs of small business who either have or are intending to have staff. So before I move on to any more slides, we'll just open it up to Q&A. I'll just check to see where that is up to. So we're just putting the chat screen up so that we can see your questions and answer them.
Just while we're doing that, I've got a quick comment to make. For the people who have watched our earlier webinars, where we gave evidence from Deloitte, the big accounting firm, they said that businesses that are digitally engaged are 4 times more likely to be employing staff. Their profit is growing about 20% per annum, and the revenue per employee is up around the 378 the thousands of dollars per annum. So there's only 16% of Australian businesses that are digitally engaged, but the overwhelming evidence that if you are digitally engaged, you are growing and making a profit. And sadly, other broad stats say that only 40% of Australian businesses are profitable, 30% are just breaking even, and sadly, the other 30% are going backwards. So I speak to a number of businesses who are saying business is tough, I'm not going anywhere, but these are usually the businesses who say, oh, the web's not for me, social media is not for me. So again, I think this evidence that we had today in today's webinar is just overwhelming evidence to say we must become digitally engaged and give our clients what they want. So that's my little contribution. So back over to Ingrid and David.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that input there. I've just had a question coming in from Tony here I'll read out the question. When you say embed the video on a website, do you mean a direct low quality video or a YouTube link? That's a really good question. When we host video online, we're usually dealing with a lot of data, and a lot of, I guess, website hosts mean that you won't actually be able to quickly be able to provide video from your website to your clients unless you've got a very expensive hosting plan. So the way to do it is to host your video usually through a third party like Vimeo or like YouTube, where you're not just having a link on your website to the video, but rather you've included the video in what they call embedded fashion. So it's pulling the video from another provider, but it's displaying it on your actual website. And in that way, you'll be getting the SEO benefit from it, especially if you've got links from your YouTube video back to your website again. I've got another question from Brooke just come in now. Is there a time and place for informal videos that are not selling a message but just wanting to engage your audience? Oh yes, I hope that sort of answered your question, Tony. As far as Brooke's question is concerned, absolutely. There's, I think, I'm just trying to think of the the best scenarios or the best cases I've seen of it, but there's a lot of very large corporations out there and larger businesses out there which are posting on Twitter and on YouTube and on their Facebooks weekly just very short presentations, very short, very informal conversational based videos directly from an iPhone or from an Android phone, with the idea of telling the audience something interesting or something that the business is doing, trying to really bring in that human aspect of the business to that wide audience. When we think of video, we really need to think of it as we get the opportunity to talk, like directly have a conversation with a huge base of people, many thousands more than what we could ever do meeting them one-to-one. And so in that sense, I'd say that, yes, I hope that sort of answers that question, Brooke. Is that?
David, I have another question, a technical question you might be able to answer for me. I've been involved in web and e-commerce for some time, although I still consider myself very much a learner. But one of the mistakes that a lot of amateur people make when they're creating their own website is taking pictures at a very high DPI, usually around the 600, and then not cropping them and trying to put them into a website, which creates very, very slow load times, meaning the amount of time that the website refreshes on your screen. Can you just explain a little bit in terms of the video side of things? Do you need to what they call compress the video to give quicker load times, or maybe you can just sort of talk on that point?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. There are processes where we can go through and optimize a video to get it as small as possible while trying to maintain the quality. There is always a trade-off between size and quality. That's what compression is. It tries to generalize the information and take out what's repetitive. Now, when we say, for example, upload a video to YouTube, it actually puts it through these algorithms and can give us the option to upload it at different resolutions. Now, when I was talking about embedding video on your website earlier, as Tony mentioned, if we're hosting and if we're providing this video from our own internet host, generally our servers aren't as good as those which YouTube uses. They're not spread across the entire world. They don't have really fast hard drives. They tend to have very limited CPU resources dedicated to them. So the way to do it, generally speaking, is upload it to a professional service which can then provide different resolutions and different quality videos to clients as they navigate to that page. So what YouTube actually tends to do is ping your machine and see how long it takes to communicate with it, and then it'll deliver the resolution based on your internet speed. So say, for example, if you're out at Whoop Whoop running off a mobile phone connection and not very fast at all, you'll tend to notice that a lot of videos automatically default to 140p or really, really low resolution work, while if you're in Armidale working off the NBN, videos will tend to default to full high definition. As far as SEO is concerned, the algorithms that Google uses compensate for this, and as long as you're hosting it through a high quality video service provider, you won't be hindered for it. It doesn't quite relate in the same way as having really highly optimized images on your website, if that kind of makes sense, if you're actually hosting it through an external third party. I hope that sort of answers that question, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
I have a question. It's Ingrid. I want to know where I can get a shotgun mic and how much it'll cost me.
Yeah, sure. It really depends on what sort of camera you're plugging into. For DSLRs, you're restricted to shotgun mics, which use what they call a 3.5mm headphone jack, and they need to have a secondary power source. So they're not actually powered from the camera, but they tend to be have 9-volt batteries or a battery inside them. Generally speaking, you can pick these up for around the $100 mark. If you are purchasing one, I'd highly recommend looking at Rode mics. These are professional quality mics, and they're very affordable, and they're Australian made, which is awesome. Also, if you're using it through a professional handycam, use XLR over 3.5mm. So 3.5mm headphone jacks, which power or run their own power supply, don't deliver the same quality as what XLR is, but I'm assuming not many of you would have a camera with XLR support. I think that sort of answers that one. Where you can buy it from, honestly, personally, I'll jump online and search for the cheapest one that I could find that's probably located in Australia. Good stores. I think, to be honest, the last time I bought one may have been from George's camera store in Sydney. Also, DWI online does parallel imports, which is funny because they import them out of Australia and then import them back in, which is a bit weird. But I think that sort of answers that one.
I do have one more question. I'm sorry, I'm asking as a business owner, not as a presenter. So you talked about being able to do voiceovers to PowerPoint presentations. So how do I do that?
Yeah, good question. The best way to do it, what I'll quickly discuss, the best way to absolutely do it is get professional quality audio recording software like Audacity, which is free. Record using a headset or even a dedicated microphone running to USB, which is a better option. Here you'd be able to sort of tweak the audio, cut out background noise. However, there is a bit of a learning curve involved there. There are also options to do voice recording in most video capturing software. So applications, for example, like QuickTime, which allows you to record certain parts of the screen, do a screen capture, can capture audio from the mic or from the computer. That means that if you're playing music on your computer, it'll actually record what your music output is there, or alternatively, it can be recording it from your headset or from your dedicated USB mic. The better option would be to use a software application like Audacity and then port it across to your video application. However, pretty much every half-decent video application, including iMovie, including Windows Movie Maker, and including Adobe Premiere, will support voice recording directly from the microphone. All right, we've got a whole string of more questions coming.
Yeah,
Sorry,
David, I just like to make another comment at that point. For the people who have been watching some of our earlier webinars, it's just reiterating that allegedly 85% of consumers in Australia, when they make a major purchase, use a mobile phone to make some sort of a buying decision, irrespective of what they are buying. So you've just sort of were talking about shotgun mics, and instead of saying go to this shop or go to that provider, you said go on the web and check it out. So again, I can only just sort of remind people, no matter what business you're in, that people are going to the web as the one of the first methods to research products, availability, prices. And the other thing that that really hits home with me, again, we did some webinars on Facebook, and it's the evidence shows that if someone's already promoted it or endorsed it or made some positive comments about a product, they are more likely to buy it. So rather than just someone placing an ad,
Yeah.
if one of their friends makes a comment about a positive product, they're more likely to buy it. So a lot of our webinars are actually building on each other and reinforcing the total message. So I thought I'd just put that in as well. So back over to you, David.
Yeah, thank you. That's really helpful. I've also got another question from Peter just come in here, and his question is there any chance that the system, or I'm guessing what you mean here is the internet, will reach a saturation point with so much video and so much content? I think we need to, so this is really just pulling on my own opinion here. My prediction is video is going to be pushing out a lot of smaller businesses which don't actually engage in that content medium. So what we'll see is more and more video content being uploaded by a lot of large businesses. We're seeing this already, where people will be influenced to just buy based on the content that's being delivered to them. We got to remember here that, as Ingrid mentioned, I think it was in her very first slide, that the visual is such a powerful way to take in information. The brain processes it so quickly. And the move in the internet is going to be to deliver information quicker and easier based on biology, based on how we actually interpret things. So video, I think, will actually be sort of the way in which we filter for information more and more. And I think what will happen is once we start to reach that saturation point, or once video becomes so prominent that it's actually hard not to find resources without it, which is a fair way off. I think our standards for video will actually start to increase. So videos with low quality presentation or less interesting will be cut out. People probably will be less likely to sit through a full video, or be wanting it to be more concise. Would be my first prediction. Another thing to note here is that Facebook jumped on video a few years back. They did a very large presentation talking about the way in which we're communicating and the way in which that's changing. And they believe that video was going to be this really strong platform for them, and this really strong sort of aspect of social networking, which they're really going to embrace strongly. However, they also believe that there's something after video which is really focusing on augmented reality and virtual reality and interactive media, where you can actually view 3D videos or interact with the video beyond just a computer screen, which is really interesting, and we should probably not talk about that but right now. Otherwise we'll go well and truly off topic. But I don't think it'll reach a saturation point, but I think that it'll raise our standards. So I think, like content being delivered across the internet a while back, we're sort of looking for higher and higher quality, being easier to interpret. I think that that trend will continue throughout the video trend. Mike, did you have something to say?
David, I've got another comment on this. If in terms of saturation, if one person even tried to attempt to look at all the data and information on the internet, it would take many, 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 many lifetimes. We've already reached the stage where our educational institutions, for example, universities, already acknowledge that there is such a huge amount of data, knowledge, information there. The real ability now has been able to sort through it and get to just what you want, and make some sort of qualitative decision that is good information. Now, this is where I think even the web is becoming a lot more selective in terms of your long key tail words and your search engine optimization. So people, and even Google, are presenting to people exactly what they are looking for. So instead of just saying, I'm interested in buying a chair, the advantage now is that I am looking for a lounge chair, leather, green, recliner, and you'll get to a much higher level of exactly what you're looking for. So, and also there's another comment that's coming out at the moment called digital distraction. For some of us, we are from a sensory point of view, bombarded and overloaded with information. Our mobile phones are going off at the most inappropriate times with lots of messages. So if anything, we now have to become selective and limiting the quality of the information that we access rather than just trying to keep on top of everything. So just by the mere fact that the amount of information, knowledge and whatever is increasing, we have to be more discerning and more selective in terms of what we choose to engage in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Mike. Another question here is maybe we could do a basic list of technical stuff from Jeanette. Absolutely, they'll be included in the summary of all the websites and all the free tools that you can be using out there as well. I'll include a basic recommendation on hardware as well if you are interested in actually purchasing some basic video recording equipment, and maybe even some more pro recommendations as well. So what sort of products to look for and what to not look for, if that would be helpful. Got another question here from Kylie. Is it possible to list the recommended product sheets on the cheat sheet? Yes, absolutely. Just answered that one. Cool. Another question from Brooke. Do you or someone else provide a service where we can come to our office or home and help us set up and do it ourselves, video software and camera, with a little bit of training? Do I offer that? Typically, I offer professional video recording services and editing services. I think that the BEC is actually able to do that at the moment.
Yeah, if I can just comment on that, David. Yeah, look, we have a number of business advisors, and we provide a service where we can come in and talk with the person and go through their general business problems or help them start a business. Although, again, I must put a little bit of a caveat or a caution there that we are all learning ourselves in terms of very, very, very specialized web or digital or Facebook details. So we can provide some general suggestions and general advice, whatever, but if you are going into extremely specialized information, you need to then engage a specialist. However, a part of what we can do is make recommendations and suggestions of people who you might like to engage. But we are not experts in every area, but we are more generalists rather than specific people. But we have a special offer that's just about to come up, where we can, if anyone who would like to contact the Business Enterprise Centre in Armidale, we have people who down in Tamworth, Moree, and we go right up to Tenterfield. But if anyone contacts us today on either that email address, mybusiness@bec.com.au, or our free 1300 number, 1300 BEC ARM, we can make an appointment with one of our business advisors to have 2 sessions, highly subsidized at no cost to you, where we can again diagnose your business and give you some immediate suggestions on where to go from there. We also have a range of other workshops that are available, and we have an accelerator plan whereby for people who are really serious about taking their business to a new level, we can sit down with people on a regular, usually a monthly basis, and we have a very structured program that we can address the issues with your business and go forward. I just come back to that previous quotation by Richard Branson. You need to take time out of your business to manage your business. I've been a small business owner myself, and the danger is that you spend so much time working harder and harder and harder that you often need to come out of that business environment and just have someone with you to focus on the key issues. I'm also reminded of the Pareto Principle, which means that 80% of your success usually is the result of 20% of your effort, but it's a question of having someone help you find that 20% of the activities that really make a big difference. So we'd be delighted to hear from people, and we'd like to work with you for your long-term business success.
Yeah, definitely. On that note too, I'd be more than happy to do any sort of one-to-one training or initial setup of recommendations on how to actually get online and get using video for advertising your business. Next question is, generally, if we want to do this, how much might we need to set aside as our basic budget to get set up? How much time might it take to make a short clip? What might you pay for someone to do it? Ballpark. Thanks. Thanks, Jeanette, for that question. First part of the question, what do we need for a basic budget to set up? Depends on what you already have hardware-wise. If you already have an iPhone or an iPad and you're really just looking for small conversational type videos, budget-wise, nothing. Time, it's really just putting that script together, thinking through the set, thinking through what your pitch is really going to be. However, I'd say on that note, if you want to pay someone to do it, generally you need to pay for higher quality. There's not many people out there, maybe unless they're sort of 17-year-olds wanting to sell iPad or iPhone videos to someone. Typically, a 3-minute video costs around $1,000 across, that sort of average price these days. But it really depends what you want to do. So short, limited transitions, limited effects. If you're not getting in a graphic designer to do certain animations, you could be looking at a few $100 to get a 2-3 minute video up. If that sort of answers your question, Jeanette.
Yeah.
The next question is, if you're using an iPad to film, what would you suggest to use for a microphone? From Kate, I'd suggest if you're using an iPhone, iPhones and iPads, they actually offer a fair range of microphone options these days, which you can either use through the Lightning adapter, specifically for Apple devices, or you can use it simply through the headphone jack on them. They actually have the ability to add a microphone in through there. Now, you are going to be limited somewhat on the quality that you can get coming through one of those, but typically for a video style presentation, if you have handheld would be fine. They need to be powered devices, but you can also jump online, have a look at shotgun style microphones for the iPod and for the iPhone. They tend to work very, very well and have the flexibility to have more than one person talking in front of the camera, while other microphones are a bit more limiting in that sense. Also, you don't need to worry about running cables across your room.
David, if I could just make another comment at this point, that we are also very reactive and responsive to our clients, and if we have people who say they would really like to do a workshop on a particular topic, for example, a face-to-face workshop, and engaging some experts like David to come in and present to us, we'd be happy to support that and facilitate it and fund it. So if we have enough people who have listened to this webinar who email us and say, yeah, I'd really like to now go to the next step and get some more face-to-face help, we'd be happy to do that. So please just email us and let us know. And the other broad comment that I go back to the public is that we're also looking for topics for future webinars. Now, we have our own shortlist of what we are working towards, But if we get enough clients who come to us with a particular suggestion or demand for a particular topic, we'd be happy to source the experts in that area and facilitate it. So yeah, please contact us, and we'd love to establish that relationship. So look, we've only got about 2-3 minutes before we wind up. We like to stick to our advertised and scheduled time frame. I'd again just like to thank Ingrid with her very insightful branding information and some of those key stats that she gave us about just how important branding, marketing, video is. And again, a big thank you to David, who has also given us a step-by-step with some very technical advice. So we'd like to hear from you if you would like to do some other workshops. Now, I think Ingrid would just like to make a comment before we finish up. So over to you, Ingrid.
Okay, so look, thank you everybody for joining us today. I know we've had a couple of audio issues. The good news is I'm looking at a whole pile of boxes with computer kit that is being installed. And I guess the BEC itself, it's just like the rest of our smaller businesses. We're entering into new territory, and you guys have blown us away today with the number of people who have attended, and we actually need to upgrade our bandwidth to support that, so we'll get that looked into. In the meantime, as a business myself, I've taken advantage of the small business mentoring, because it doesn't matter what you know yourself, you don't have that perspective when it's you, and you need someone else to slap you silly sometimes to make sure you're charging the right prices and putting the right offers together. So I highly recommend taking advantage of that offer. And in fact, that concludes our presentation.